said to my wife it was
Where are you from, Bill? Where's home now?
Harrisburg.
Harrisburg? Mm-hmm. Is it near, I went to law school in Carlisle.
Yeah.
Are you on the Camp Hill side?
No, I'm on the other side of the river.
Other side?
And then so up the river farther.
I'm going to ask probably some questions regarding, where you from originally, Bill?
Rutherford Heights is a railroad town about the size of almost Jamestown. There was the two, still, yeah.
That's fine,
yeah. My dad worked in the railroad, but then when I got to be 18 years old, I got a job in the steel mill, Harrisburg Steel. We made all bombs for, some, like air bottle they had, put some method gas in. It wouldn't kill them, but to just knock them out.
Right.
But then they made 1,000-pound bombs and mortar shells, 500 demolition, just anything you could use to. They didn't use it in Japan, but when they got into the German hard line, they just blasted them bunkers right out of the ground.
And that's when you were, Rutherford Heights is in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And you were playing baseball through your high school days?
Oh yeah, I pitched a couple no-hitters in high school. That's how the scouts got interested. But I still had a sister that was still in school, and they tried to sign me. Pittsburgh tried to sign me, and scout kept coming after him, and I said nope. And then when he did, I said I'll tell you, I'll sign the contract if it's a no-cut contract. He said that's easy enough done. Went to McKeesport, PA. They didn't go south because it was too late. And
what year was this?
1936.
Mm-hmm.
And then 39 is when I agreed to sign the contract.
So you signed a contract in 1939.
Yeah.
In the spring of 39 with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
Who was the scout?
Jack, can't think of his last name. He followed me all through for about 2 months. And a couple times the manager didn't want, they had a guy who was a football coach, and he had guys he was trying to push so he'd get more money. And this Jack was over the scout, and he come right over and give me hell. He said, I want to see how well he can do. Because at one time, it was cold, and I had a stiff neck. And I said, don't go putting him out there today. But he said, as soon as he gets that better, I don't want him out there ruining his arm. It was about a week till it cleared up and got good and dry, and then it worked out quite a bit.
So you're a pitcher?
Yeah.
And right-handed, left-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed? Here, let's go here. Let's take a look. What was your pitch here, Bill?
Pardon?
What was your best pitch?
The splitter.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had a good fastball and a good curveball, but as soon as I get 2 strikes on it, I'd throw that splitter, and it just like a knuckleball, it'd just dip out of the way.
So that was your pitch?
Yeah.
And so you signed with the Pirates in 1939.
Yeah.
And then what did they decide to do with you?
I stayed in the Penn State League for about might have been 2 weeks. And then they had too many people at McKeesport, and they wanted to know if I'd be willing to go up to Jamestown. They just bought this, and I didn't know where the hell Jamestown was. And I said, well, it's all right with me. I said, I want to play ball. And I get up there and had no problem.
So you come to Jamestown first time, and you find that there's a ballpark in Celeron nearby. What'd you think of the park?
Well, it wasn't too good accommodations. It was in an amusement park, and they didn't have any showers. If you wanted to, you can crawl in the tub. But I said, no, hell, I'll just wash off enough till I get back to the apartment. And they said, that's all right. Because I lived with an old fellow that he would help me a lot. He played for the Cincinnati Reds years back, and he used to come to all the games, and he said, now take it easy, don't get too anxious, and you'll do all right if some guy got a hit. And I'd listen to him, and he really helped me a lot.
When you come in day one, and you met by some players, most of whom you probably had never met before. And here's a picture, if you remember some of those guys.
Yeah. Quite a few of them.
What recollections, if any, do you have of the who was your manager?
Mickey Lalonde.
Mickey Lalonde. Describe Mickey Lalonde.
Well, he wasn't too good a manager. I shouldn't say that, but he wasn't. He went riding a bus with us. He had a V6 Ford, and he'd always ride in the bus. And he wasn't very trustworthy. The business manager used to give me all the money to pay the hotel rooms when we'd go up into Hamilton, Ontario, and all the trips. And Mickey used to pay them. And unfortunately, he was charging about collecting 3 times more than he should have for these. And he put it in his pocket. And when I took the change back to give the business manager, Jim Matthews, boy, he got madder than hell. I said, he'll take out on me. He said, I'll see that he don't. But he said, I'm going to see that he brings the right change back. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, okay. So he didn't treat me too good after that.
Why did Jim Matthews pick you out?
Well, I was really a captain of the team. They gave me the money, and guys like make arrangements to make bus trips and everything. And they'd give me hell because we used to get $3 a day when we were on the road, and you could get a good meal for that at the time. But when we go to up into Canada, Hamilton, he said, "Now take the money and change it into Canadian money. You can make a little extra." And of course, the guys would give me hell. And I said, "Well, that's what I was told to do." And they said, "Don't give them that much." So he said, "They'll gamble it all away and they won't have any meal money." I said, "Well, that's their tough luck." He said, "That's right."
That's right.
So they'd try and get more money out of me. And I said, "Nope." I said, "You got your meal money. You have to quit." So they'd get together, and some that had enough money, they'd borrow the money off of them till payday. But we only made $90 a month.
Is that right?
That's right.
So your contract was with the Pirates.
Yeah.
Not with the local entity at all.
Yeah.
And Jim Matthews is still alive.
Yeah.
He's up in the middle part of New York.
Good.
And so in fact, he signed that picture there.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about Jim Matthews.
He was a really dedicated guy. He trusted me, and I trusted him. Yeah.
What were the, let's go stick with the players here. If you look down there, are there guys you recognize?
Yeah, this one definitely. This guy's name is Joe Black.
Joe Black, yeah.
He was a Polish fella, and nothing against him, but he cut his B-L-A-C-H-U-A
Right.
at Blaho, and he didn't want anybody to know that. So he just cut it off and made Joe Black, and he looks somewhat like me.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time finding myself.
Well, you're at the very top. At the very top.
Yeah, I see it right here in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this guy here name was Joe Lucan. His brother was Eddie Lucan. He played he was a left fielder, left-handed batter, and he always hit 300 or more.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Where did you find this picture?
It was in an article, and I had it blown up. And
good.
It's from our archives. Now George Goodell, he played what?
First base.
First base.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about George Goodell.
Very good. Good hitter. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find him on here.
In fact, I have someplace another.
It's so long since I worked,
yeah.
but there's an envelope there with his name and address, and I've been trying to reach him, and I thought maybe he passed away.
What about the team that year? Was it much of a team?
Very good hitting, but every time I'd pitch, they'd all try too hard. I'd get beat by 1 run. When this Black pitched, they scored 10 or 15 runs. Yeah. And they all said they couldn't understand it. But I had an average of striking out about 10 people a game.
My gosh.
And that's why I couldn't, but if I got wild, they might as well take me out of the game. I couldn't hit the damn plate I'd walk about 4 people in a row. and it was too hard to make up.
On the team, it looked like there were about 15 players.
Mm-hmm.
Which includes, let's see, Mickey Lalonde was just, he didn't play, did he?
No.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I got 18 players.
Yeah. The player limit at that time was around 16. You couldn't carry him in more than that.
Is that right?
And they only had one catcher, and he had to be able to play the outfield and the catch too. And they all both good hitters and a good catcher, but if you didn't go the at least 6 innings, then you'd always have to go back and relieve the other guy. And so they ruined more pitchers trying to save games than they did, because you were about it. If you started yourself and didn't leave, they'd take you out. But most of the time, I was relieving the rest of them that couldn't make it. And Jesus, some mornings I get up, I couldn't even comb my hair.
Where did you live?
I lived in Rutherford Heights.
No, while you were in Jamestown,
Well,
where was your apartment?
It was on 2nd Street.
How did you get from your apartment out to the ballpark?
We had, there was a trolley running then. We used to run on the trolley. And the big amusement was at night, what's her name? Oh God, she's red hair. She lives here, has a park dedicated to
Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball. We used to go every night because they didn't have any lights. And God, that was just a joy to just sit down and listen to her.
Yeah.
You could drink if you wanted to, but that time I didn't drink.
The games were all played during the day.
Yeah.
Did you have much of a crowd?
No. The biggest crowd would be maybe 1,500.
Right.
It was because it was right, most of them were working.
Right.
Sundays we did get a pretty good crowd.
There were you there the whole season?
Yeah.
There was a very
Well, there's a paper clipping in there you'll enjoy reading. See if I can find it for you.
Before you get to that, there was an exhibition game, which the Pittsburgh Pirates came up.
Yeah.
Do you remember much about that?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, there was 3 of us. A guy by the name of Satuski, he's a real good pitcher, had a good fastball. And he led the league in strikeouts. And then the other guy was a fellow by the name of Art Watson. And the coach, or the scout, was real heavy on this Watson. And hell, he couldn't get the ball over. So before games, I used to warm him up, and I'd say, keep that damn ball down. As soon as you throw one, I said, get down here. I said, if you throw it, it's going to go over me. I won't try to catch it.
Okay.
And he got mad about it, and then finally it worked, and he turned out to be pretty good. He was from Massachusetts.
But one particular day, in come the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right.
And there was a scorecard of that
right.
day. And what did you think that here your heroes of the Pittsburgh Pirates were on the same field?
Right. Rizzo was the outfielder. He's quite a home run hitter. In fact, he led the league for about 3 years in a row.
Right.
And Archie Vaughan and Guston was a third baseman. Archie Vaughan played first. And the guy, the bow-legged guy, what the heck was he?
Wagner, Hannes Wagner?
Yeah, he was a shortstop. And we were spring training in McKeesport, and the coach said the best thing you can do, they didn't have lights there. He said, just get on the trolley. It's about 30 miles into Pittsburgh and see the games. He said, you'll learn more there than you will sitting around the house. And we thanked him, and it was about 5 of us who used to go every night. And then, believe it or not, one Guy Lombardo, not Guy Lombardo, a big catcher, Ernie Lombardo. Yeah.
Ernie Lombardi.
He was catching there at the time. And he had a guy, he felt he was out at home plate. And we all of us sitting, the people all thought he was out. And they all started to boo, and the umpire called him safe. And he turned around and threw the goddamn ball clear out of the stadium, and he got fined for it. Yeah.
But I was back.
Clemente was still playing for Pittsburgh in right field. Boy, he was quite a player.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
He led the league every year in hitting until he got hurt while in the plane crash when he went home.
Was your team when you were growing up the Pirates? Did you follow that when you were a kid?
Not too much. It didn't make much difference to me. I never liked the Yankees and the Boston Braves. I had always root for the underdog.
Right.
Just like this year. Now Pittsburgh's coming along. They got rid of all the high-priced players, and they're starting to get there only about 6 or 5.5 games out of the getting in the playoff. What do you call it? They have
wild card.
Yeah, the wild card player.
During your season at Jamestown, any highlight that you remember about any games, any funny incident that may have occurred?
Yeah. They had an umpire, I think his name was Shylock, and they used a rubber inflated big chest protector, which was clear there and there. So there was a guy on third base, and when the third baseman made a bad play, he went all the way from first to third, and he actually got into third base safe because it'd been out if he'd caught the ball. And I was coaching there, and I just got out of the way to let the ball go. And he stumbled and he hit on the chest protector, and the chest protector told him his feet sticking straight up in the air. Oh, he was mad when he come back. And why the hell didn't you help me? I said, that wasn't for me to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Any other story you remember?
Yeah, we was playing in Olean, and they played Montreal and I knew a boy by the name of George Staller, who later went up with Baltimore, was very good. He didn't have a very good arm. He had his left arm was kinked a little bit, and he had to wing it like that, but he usually played pretty good. And he was my buddy when we grew up in school, and finally he had sugar, and he didn't take care of it. It killed him, and he was still pretty young. His dad died from sugar too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's one thing. I'm 87 years old, so I'm thankful. But I had this knee operated on once, totally replacement. This one twice, and it don't do so good. That's why I was stumbling around.
But you're unbelievable. You don't look 87. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And you're very sharp.
Right.
And you know the fact that you were there in 1939. Do you remember a Post-Journal reporter named Stuart McGuire?
Yeah.
Tell me about Stuart McGuire.
Oh, he used to attend the games, and if you read that, you'll see he had all the kind of nicknames for me. He called me Big Abraham, Bill Black, and then in another place he said I was the Abraham, the rail splitter, and oh God, he had all kinds. He was on my side all the time.
And as far as some of the other players, Bill, George Goodell was the first baseman.
Yeah.
At second base, do you remember who he was?
There was a couple there. One was Cam from Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple of them, but I don't know who the other ones were. And the shortstop was John Lucon.
Right.
And his brother's the one that played for Cincinnati, who was really hit over 300 every year. He was from down Burgettstown, down below Pittsburgh. They had a butcher shop. And he was my roommate, and as soon as his feet hit the floor in the morning, he had to have a big chew of tobacco in. He even wouldn't eat breakfast.
Did you chew tobacco?
No, sir. Never smoked or chewed any tobacco.
Was that prevalent then? Do a lot of people, ball players, do that then?
Oh yeah, a lot of them chewed, and a lot of them, smoked.
And among the other players, a guy named Peterson in center field.
Yeah, he was right there from near Faulkner here.
Mm-hmm. And then there was Barnhart.
Yeah, he was from Maryland.
And then there was
he went up with the Athletics, the old Athletics.
A guy named Taylor?
Yep, Chuck Taylor. He was a boxer, and he was from right near Pittsburgh.
Carmichael?
Yeah, he was from South. He was a good hitter. We led the league in hitting, but we ended up pretty close to the bottom if we weren't on the bottom.
Then there was a third baseman named Lawrence.
Yep.
The catcher Price.
Yep.
And Buzzanati.
Yeah, both of them weren't very good. You have to give them hell all the time. They'd sit down, put their fingers clear down like this so everybody could read them. And I was pitching against a team, and I went to Batavia the last year when they moved up to.
Right.
I just said, that's too far to go from home. And I said, this guy from Jack Sanford was his name. He was brother-in-law was Ben Chapman with the Yankees.
Right.
And he was damn good, but I could strike him out anytime. He'd always come back, and I'd strike him out maybe 2 times, and he'd come back and said, well, nail yourself down to that mound because I'm going to knock you right the hell off. I said, that's all right. I said, I'll knock you off a chance before you get a chance to do it.
Then you had, I've seen this picture here of when the Pirates came to town, and there was Pie Traynor,
right,
and Honus Wagner,
right,
yeah.
Rizzo got drunk when they had to take him out of the Jamestown hotel and put him on the train out to Sheffield to get on the train to go back to Pittsburgh.
He missed the train?
No, he didn't miss it. They held him enough to get him on the train.
That was Rizzo, huh?
Yeah.
Do you remember any of the ball players like Wayner? Was Lloyd Wayner with him then?
No, but there was a Bell, played third base.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it was a Hank Green ball style bat.
Right.
And Hank Green always hit about 59, 50-some home runs every year. And I thought, there must be something to do with that. He said, I might strike out a lot, but damn, he said, when you get that bat on that ball, you're gonna hit a home run. So I took him at his word, and this Gus Bell said to me, how much you want for that bat? I said, I'll give it to you if you give me one of yours, and that was a mistake.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So, did they refer to you as, they got a picture here in this book of Celeron, New York, 1939,
mm-hmm.
Somebody named Swede.
Yeah, he was a pitcher. He was from Kane, PA.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. He was in the service, in the Navy. He wanted to get in flight school, Navy, but he couldn't pass the test.
Describe the ballpark. If you closed your eyes and you had to describe the Celeron Park, what I've been told is there was no fence in the outfield.
No fence. You had to hit the ball in the tree, quite away from the water. As long as you hit the tree or hit the leaves in the tree, it was a home run, and that was a good 350 feet out there. Mm-hmm. And there was a guy, a pitcher from Olean. He went up. The hell was his name? Jake Pittler managed Olean, and they always won the league. And we always said, he isn't that good. He said, that damn Jewish luck.
Tell me about Jake Pittler.
Oh, he was a firepot.
Yeah.
There was only one time we had trouble. We had a guy, what the hell was his name? It was when I left and came back and joined Batavia, and here in Jamestown, they played in a little park up on the hill here somewhere.
Allen Park.
And there was just a wood dugout. The article's in there somewhere about that.
Right.
And the umpire called I won the game 3-2, and the guy went to the Pirates, Red Munger. And he could throw too, but we out-hit him pretty good, and then even myself had one, but then there was one of the guys in our team hit a 3-base hit right down the right field line. It went all the way for an inside the park home run. And this same guy that was umpiring that I said flew up in the air was still in the league, and he called him safe, and all the people, they really get on him. But my roommate was a long guy, looked like the Cards shortstop, that big tall guy. And
as I'm looking at the field here, the picture, and I see the fence, and then I see in the background they had the roller coaster.
Yeah, that was in right field.
Right. So in right field there was the roller coaster.
Well, it was far enough out there. It was pretty tough to get a home run. If you hit one in the lake, no doubt about it. Couple of left-handers hit him in there.
Okay. These are extraordinary pictures.
I took most of them when it was gone.
So you were a photographer. You enjoyed?
Yeah. Well, I'd get other people to take them in any I was in.
Wow. This is incredible. I've never seen this. And then the left field line, that was just went forever, didn't it?
Right. Clear up the lake.
So nobody ever.
But if you hit it, it didn't hit the tree, and they couldn't tell for sure how far. It was only a double. Don't matter how far it went. And but a lot of them tried it. I was the only one that ever hit it that went right halfway up the tree. And there was a guy from, I think his name was Hayden Shoup. He could throw. I didn't win the game, but I hit a home run off, and just if there had been anybody on the base, I'd have won it.
You a good hitter?
Yeah.
Did you, when you weren't pitching, did they use you?
Yeah, quite a few times.
What position did they use you at?
Just
Pinch hit?
Just a pinch hit, yeah. There was one year I was a little bit everywhere before retired, and that was in 1940. And I came from London down and played in it was called the Penn State, not the Penn State, the Eastern League, AA ball. And the manager was Les Bell. He was a third baseman for the Cardinals, and he holds a record for having the most errors in a World Series game. He had 5, and he didn't like me. And they had a high school kid there in Harrisburg, and they wanted to show him off, and they got quite a crowd. And about the third inning, they just pummeled him. So then he said, well, you warm up and go out there. So I did. So then they had a substitute catcher from Hollidaysburg, Art Green, who was a very good hitter. And they put him on second base. And they hit the ball to the first baseman. I went over to cover the bag. And then at the last minute, I was clear past the bag. And he threw the ball, and of course, the guy got safe and went to second. And when I come in, there was a city cop, Diddy Coughlin, has played for semi-pro ball for him for years, right after he come out of high school. And he told me, he said, he always called me Blackie. He said, Blackie, you might as well pack your bags because he's going to can you. He hated you talking back to him. I said, well, that's too bad. I told him off. I said, God damn it. I said, if he'd have thrown the ball, and he should have, we had it out. And he didn't like it.
When you, who did you room with here in Jamestown? Did you have a roommate?
Most of the time it was up there in 2nd Street, and there's a couple different ones because there was 2 single beds in this room. And this Swede was there quite a bit of the time. And I forget who else. There was a guy, he was a relief pitcher. Oh, God, I can't think of his name now. Welsh was his last name.
Welsh?
And what do you think of them contracts?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I was showing some of the players over that they couldn't believe it. I was still able to send home money to keep my youngest sister in school.
So your first professional baseball was in McKeesport.
Yeah.
And then from there to Jamestown.
Right.
And then you stayed for the whole season.
Right.
And then the Jamestown, did you know that the Pirates were unhappy here in Jamestown?
Oh yeah, they couldn't get any crowds.
What about the stadium itself? Do you recall?
Oh, it was terrible. Wasn't much seating room, no lights, and there's the old hotel there in the park, and they had no showers, and they didn't have any sleeping facilities in it. They had them, but they wasn't fit to sleep in.
Right.
So that's when I decided they wanted me to go up to London. I said, that's too far. I said, to ride back in hell, we'd play in London, like, and we'd leave up there just before dark in an old bus, and Christ, we wouldn't get in until we stayed at, used to play at Bradford. Bradford had a good team.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name? The left-hander for the Braves?
Spawn. Yeah.
They used to say Spawn and Sane and pray for rain. But Sane wasn't there, but Spawn was there. He had a good left-hander.
So you saw Warren Spawn pitch at that?
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of him then?
He was tough, real tough.
Was he about the best you'd seen at this level?
Yeah. We did beat him once, but the old guy that managed there, he loaded all right-handed batters. I managed to get a hit off of him.
Right. Who else do you recall? Do you remember any other players on other teams that sort of stood out?
Well, I was always a great fan of Ted Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But I still say there was nobody any better.
Right.
I was in Philadelphia after I quit ball. The minor league association used to give you that you were finished, so many years in the minor leagues, and they were supposed to leave you in for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The Philadelphia Athletics did, but I went to Brooklyn a couple times for games, and they wouldn't have nothing to do with it. Because I had a real good friend in school. I don't know if you ever remember Billy Cox or not.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
He lived in your area.
Yeah, he lived in Liverpool.
Right.
He drank himself to death. He'd get drunk. And he was terrible because he had Bobo Newsom and Jackie Robinson. He'd call them both niggers. Goddamn nigger, don't come near me. That was terrible.
Because didn't he own a bar?
Yeah. In Liverpool.
Right.
Well, it was in the American Legion.
Right.
He didn't own it, but he just lived there.
Right.
It's too bad. I used to be able to handle him pretty good. He played semi-pro ball in Harrisburg, where they had a fireman's league down there, and it was pretty tough. You didn't get much money, but for pitchers, they'd say, well, we'll give you $15 or something like that. I'd say, fine. But if you don't win, you don't get anything. I said, it's fair enough, so I won most of them.
Right.
They had a left-hander, but a guy named Campbell played for West Side Hose in Steelton. He could wrap the ball off of me pretty good.
After 1939, you chose not to go with the Pirate team to London.
Right.
Then you signed with Batavia?
Yeah. No, I went down the Kitty League,
Okay.
Kentucky, Tennessee.
Okay.
Oh boy, if I'd had the money, and that was only like maybe 100 at the most. If I had my train money to get back to Harrisburg, I would have gone.
Right.
Oh, that was terrible. I'd done pretty good. They wanted to keep me, but I didn't like it.
Right.
And I told the manager down in Paducah, I said, I can't stand the heat, and I said, I just hate it down here. Would you give me my release? And he said, well, you'll have to wait for 3 days. He said, till we get the pitcher back from Jackson. I said, that's good enough. When it came, I packed my bags and started to walk back to get the bus to get into Cincinnati. And the sports writer there stopped, blew the horn. It was a nice September or late July. It was still enough of the season. And I sent well, I'm wrong on that one. My brother-in-law had people worked in Erie out of Harrisburg. Mm-hmm. So he said, they'll take you to Corey. And he said, you can get a bus up into Corey. And I told the guy who was coming, and he said, your arm all right? And I said, yes. And he said, good. He said, you're going to pitch the first damn game we get here. And we were playing Olean then, or Batavia, no, it was Olean. And I was with Batavia. And they had a pretty good team. A fellow by the name of Red Munger, who used to be with the Cardinals.
Oh, sure.
And he was pitching against me. And of course I was with Batavia, and I pitched in a little park on the hill up here. And they had a wood dugout. The umpire called a guy out when he was trying to go for, it was a inside the park home run. And oh, geez, they call him safe. And the people come over, and they come in, the guy, damn dugout, jumped up on the roof and was trying to crash in a whole bunch of us. We were just standing there holding it up till the cops come.
Yeah.
And they brought the cops and the ambulance.
We'll just see if this is him. Because where that was playing was in Allen Park in Jamestown.
Yeah.
And that's a great story because...
See, I pitched for him the year before here.
Right.
And had a pretty good season. But when I beat Munger and the guy called him safe, oh, Jesus, because the guy from Batavia told me it was Jack, just said his name a while ago. He's Ben Chapman's brother-in-law.
Right. So when you played Jamestown here, do you remember a guy named Johnny Newman?
Newman,
does that ring a bell?
No.
Okay. Because, let's see, yeah, here's the game. Fans wild as Batavia got 2-1 decision with umps escorted from park.
Right, yeah.
Batavia Clippers came through the warring of Jamestown fans to win a 2-1 decision over Falcons in Jamestown last evening in a game marred by young riots. Tonight the Clippers, umpires taken away. You were the winning pitcher.
Yeah.
And Munger was the loser.
Yeah.
2-1. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It was the last of the ninth, and it was the end of the game, and they argued like hell, but they didn't win.
Bill Black went the distance for the Clippers with Munger doing the tossing for the Falcons. Walt Chipple remained at home.
That guy, Chipples, was from up around Batavia, or not, Buffalo.
Did you stay the whole season at Batavia?
Yeah.
Okay. Then after that, you left, this is 1940.
Yeah. I went back home to Harrisburg, and I'd gotten a job from them when I was just a kid, just old enough to work in the steel mill, and made bombs and all kind of lethal weapons, them big 1,000-pounders. And when I got home, the big man, Moss was his last name. He wasn't fat, but he was as tall as me and really husky. And he said, "You going back to play ball next year?" And I said, "Why, what's the matter now?" Well, it was right before the war. And he said, "You want me to kick your ass?" And I said, "No, what's the matter?" He said, "I want you to stay here, because their defense plant corporation was building a whole new plant to make bombs. They didn't think we were making them fast enough." And finally they admitted, he said, "We got enough to pile them 5 mile high on the East Coast and 5 mile high on the West Coast, and now we got to start making 8-inch artillery shells." And I had a lot to do with that. I supervised the installation of that, and that's one reason why he wanted me to come. He knew I could do it. And he said, "Get up now." He said, "It's all union work. You can't do any work." And there's a guy by the name of Davey Huffman from Sealing Grove was the foreman, and he said, "Just make goddamn sure you don't try to do anything here." I said, "Okay." So we have what they call, it was about a 12 or 15-foot draw bench. When they make bombs, they have to forge them and put a taper on the nose cone and a square one on the back. Well, they started, made the first ones. They had I called it was just like one of these pot wash bowls where you tramp on it and wash your hands. And they had oil running the pump and everything, and he couldn't press the brass ring fast enough, and it wouldn't press them right. Geez, they sent a couple samples down. They killed a couple of the people down at the Aberdeen Proving Grounds. They came back in, and
that's okay, leave your heads up.
And he said, we can't afford to do that. He said, do you have any ideas? I said, yeah. They had 3 jaws that would come in, and they were real pointed, like, and it was supposed to be hollowed like that when it went up, just the same shape as the thing. But they had too many points, and it cut into the thing, and they had to put them down. And that's why they were exploding in the cannon. And they had a lieutenant from the Army Corps there to see if there was anything wrong, that he was to talk to people and see what they could do. So I was only about 26 years old, and this guy was supposed to be my foreman. He said, "Goddamn kid don't know anything." So I told Mr. Moss, I said, "It's no use me up here. That guy won't listen to me." He come tearing up. He was down the old plant. He come down, tearing up in a short order and rode him off. They had a bolt. It was about this big around, 5-inch bolts, and it went through. It was all machined, but you had to have it up, where right before you could anchor it. And I said, I said to this guy, I said, "I'll get out and get the old man." He said, "What the hell's, you don't need any goddamn old man." I said, "You wait till I bring him up here." And we took a big piece of plate iron, about 3 inches, or 3/4 of an inch thick, and put the big bolt down there, and he had a guy cutting torch. He bored it out close enough, and we used to sit, and you had to take that 30-pound, keep it, and they could see the thing was about, maybe 5 inches off the floor.
Great.
And he had a transit level. He was trying to get it up with that. I said, "Debbie, you'll never get the goddamn thing up doing that." And when I said I'd go get the old man, he didn't know what it was. And how in the hell's the old man, if we can't do it, how in the hell's the old man going? I said, "You wait till you see it." And I went down, I had a station wagon, I put it and come up, and Jesus Christ, he said. I said, "I don't think you could handle that thing." "No," and he said, "I don't want you to try, and I won't let anybody else, but you try that." So I put it down there. Then I had, when it was down, I had the blacksmith make tapered wedges, steel wedges. And it kept coming a little bit each time, a little bit each time. When I got it up sound on those wedges, then we grouted it in and left it all settle and tighten it down on the thing, and never had any trouble with it. I said, Jesus Christ.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this little mention here of Sportorials, which was done by Stuart McGuire, which simply said, "If you don't think Big Bill Abraham Lincoln Black is a throwback to his famous namesake, at least as a rail splitter, then choke on this. Bill split his own bat last Sunday, another yesterday, and 3 Batavians split their wands trying to smash his pitches."
Yeah, I used to throw, would go either way, all depended. If I put my finger like this, it would go in against the right hitter. If I put this and down this way and the ball down here, it'd slide right in against the left-hander. And they'd try and hit it, and the grain would hit the grain,
Sure.
tear it right in half. And that's when bats were bats. Today they split damn near every one because they don't hold it right.
I'm looking at these photographs, which I think are the most remarkable things. I've never seen anything like it.
I had a lot more, but I gave them away to some of the players.
Sure. Joe Price. What do you remember about Joe Price?
Well, he was a big Polish guy from North Towanda, and you shouldn't make fun of him. He couldn't. The world's tallest man came in Jamestown out here. There was an ice cream parlor here up on Main Street.
Right.
And this guy come walking in the door, and I couldn't believe it. He had to stoop way over. He was 7 foot something. And everybody just looked, and he couldn't sit with his knees under the table. He wanted to get some ice cream and stuff. And he had to sit out. He couldn't get him in under there. I had never seen anybody. They took a picture of him trying to go out the door when he was going out. He was way over ducking.
Hank Bizzonati.
Yeah, he was an Italian. He was from Kittany, or what's it out there? Out above Pittsburgh.
Kittanning,
yeah.
And they got
he could hit the ball, but he didn't hit many. But he struck out more than he hit.
And I see reference here to Swede.
Yeah.
Who was that?
He was from Kane here. He was in the military and the Navy. He wanted to get in the Air Force and Navy, but he couldn't pass the exam, so he come up and took it. He was my roommate for quite a while.
Hank Wiskup?
Yeah, he was from Buffalo.
Buffalo? How about Eddie Welsh?
Yeah, he was from Pittsburgh. He was a relief pitcher. That's all. He could only go 2-3 innings.
Then you had Art Watson.
Yeah, he was from, down below Mansfield.
And Leo Murray.
Yeah, Leo Murray was from Boston. He's the guy that could be a good pitcher, but he'd just wilder than hell. He'd throw the ball way up. So this Leo Mackey says, "You can catch him, you warm him up." And I said, "That's no problem with me." I said, "I'll even catch if you want me to." And he said, "No," he said, "you just warm him up." And I said, "Well, I told him before it started, I said, you're either going to keep the ball knee high or I'm not even going to try to catch it." And it got him trained so that he could throw. He's a good left-hander. He was very good to us, the two of us, this other Joe Black. He lived above Harrisburg, and he said, "Hell, I'll call my mother," and down below, on 15 below, there's a steep mountain. He said, "I hate like hell to get down that mountain into Williamsport. They have so many wrecks." "Oh," I said, "you don't need to worry. You're a good enough driver." So he agreed to take us to Williamsport, and we get on the train and went to Harrisburg.
Now, Bob Barnhart?
Yeah, he was from Maryland.
Maryland?
Good. He went with, play with the old Athletics when they still were operating. Played third base there for quite a while.
And we have, of course, Mickey Lalange.
That was an umpire, or the manager. That's one he'd never ride in a bus. He'd always drive his car, and especially when we went to Canada.
Now, when you rode the bus, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Matthews used to always give me the mill money and all that, and pay the bills, the hotel bills and everything. That's what got me in trouble. Jim said, "Where's the rest of the money?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "This is what the clerk gave me back." He said, "That goddamn Mickey must have been pocketing some money." I said, "I don't know," but I said, "Don't say anything about it because he'll take it out on me." He said, "No, he won't." He got him in and chewed him out right in front of me.
What's your best memory of Jamestown?
I really liked it. That's the best place I ever played. I bet 75% of them were Swedes then. A lot of booming business. The clerk in the office was very nice and redhead, and most of the guys would drink beer often. I never. And she said, "Well, I want to have them out to the house to treat them." I don't know where it was, out of Jamestown, not too far. And they had a chicken farm. And they made chicken and noodles. They parboiled the chicken and took all the white meat off of it. And then they had noodles and the juice from the cooking that. They put it in, they'd put a little noodles, a layer of this broth, and then it would be about that thick in a big square cake pan. And she told them before, I said, "There won't be any drinks." They said, "Okay," but they cleaned that whole pot up. They were really good.
This has been terrific. Where's home now for you?
Right in Harrisburg.
Right in Harrisburg? What brings you up to Jamestown?
Well, I come up to see George Goodell, and I gave him copies, all of them, and his brother, I forget what his name, they were both certified public accountants. And I brought my wife along, and she, at that time, was well, but shortly after that she got MS and never got over it. She about 16 years. He died in 2002. And that was rough.
No, I'm sure. So you're here today with some friends?
Mm-hmm. My daughter.
Is she from Jamestown, or?
No.
So you're just visiting?
Yeah, she's from Jamestown.
Oh, is she?
That's what they come down and got me to bring this stuff up.
This is terrific. I want to get your address. I will send you some stuff. Work with your daughter, you know. And I'd love to get copies of these pictures because you're the only guy I know who has pictures of Celeron baseball.
Yeah, right. You're welcome.
I'd love to take copies. And so I'll talk to your daughter about that. This has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to stay for the game?
Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
This has just been wonderful. Well, thank you. You're welcome.
There's one in here somewhere that's out there, Celeron, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, just so I get it.